what's going on, guys? It's Pete here with MixBetterNow.com, coming to you with the brand new Mix Critique Monday on a Tuesday. Apologize, I wasn't able to get this up yesterday, so I wanted to do it as soon as possible. So I'm going to, of course, refer to this as today being March 13th, even though it's the 14th. You guys know what I'm saying. So this is from the week of the 13th, of course. We are in March 2017. As always, we have three very cool mixes on deck. We have mixes from Adam Buckley, Tristan Eichorn, and Maria KRAFT. All right, we're going to check those out in a second. For all of you just tuning in who are new to Mix Critique Monday, I would like to say welcome. Mix Critique Monday is a platform for you to get a free mix critique, to get another set of ears on your mix. Everything is said here with positivity. It's all constructive criticism. There is nothing said in a negative or a disparaging manner. I do this as a service and as a way, a community for you guys to feel safe sending your mixes. And everyone else who listens, great, right? Leave tons of comments below. People will chime in and also kind of discuss some things that they hear. So my goal with this whole thing is to help you get the best mix possible. So that being said, if you would like a free mix critique and you would like to be on Mix Critique Monday, please email me, pete@mixbetternow.com. I will put a link in the show notes where you can email me, or you can go over to the website, mixbetternow.com, and email me from there. All you have to do is send me a downloadable WAV file, preferably a WAV file. If not, an MP3 is also okay. Please include your name, the name of the song, the name of the artist if it's different from yours, and it's first come, first serve. So really easy. Shoot me your mixes and I will certainly get to them, okay? I just want to also mention right now I am running a giveaway, a contest. I'm giving away 3 copies of the amazing, it's the Black Box Analog Design HG2 Harmonic Saturator from Plugin Alliance, and it sounds fantastic. You can enter that over at the website, mixbetternow.com. Again, giving away 3 copies of it on March the 24th. So enter on or before that. 3 winners will be chosen at random. A bunch of different ways you can get some extra entries, so check it out. I will put a link again in the show notes where you can go enter. So good times, free gear is always a good thing, right? Okay, let's get into these mixes here. First one is called Coast to Coast by my man Adam Buckley. Actually, I think Adam won my last giveaway. He won a free copy of Train Your Ears. So there you go. Adam Buckley, Coast to Coast. Here we go. I'm just trying to listen. I can't tell if that is, let's zoom in a little bit here. Is that like Adam, let me know, is that like a rain effect or some kind of like a vinyl kind of sound there? Of course, it's a little bit staticky. I don't know if that's intentional or not, so I apologize if it is, and I'm just kind of hearing it that way. But I just want to make sure, because if it's not, then you know, that's a whole nother talk. But I think I heard like a little thunder in there, so that might be a cool little part of this intro.
I know that'll be the city where I find what I'm looking for. Something is missing and I keep on wishing it was so easy to find. But I don't know where to look next, no I don't.
Okay, so now that I'm listening to it, you're talking about Seattle and rain. That totally makes sense. So I dig it in the very intro, like right when you come in here, like and you're not singing and you can hear it with the guitar. And I like the sound of the acoustic, by the way. I would maybe pull that down a little bit when you start singing, just because it's taking my attention away from listening to you sing. I'm assuming this is your song. From listening to you sing, and that's what I want to hear. I want to hear you sing. I don't want to hear a bunch of rain. I'm not saying that in a bad way at all. I just think that's a very easy fix. Just a little bit of tweaking on the level there. You know, you can sort of fold that underneath the vocal and the guitar.
Because I know that'll be the city.
Yeah, right there, just almost as loud as the vocal and the guitar. And right, that's the most important part of that song for me, is the vocal and the guitar. So let's keep going here.
City where I find what I'm looking for. Something is missing and I keep on wishing it was so easy to find. But I don't know where to look next. No, I don't know where. I'm gonna go to Seattle and watch the sunrise up above the city. I hope that you can see me making the most of the States, coast to coast. I'm going where you wouldn't dare, and I know where to look next, but I don't know what to expect at all.
Really dig the song. Really, really catchy. I'm hearing a couple things going on that is some stuff I would probably touch on. Mainly EQ related. Some stuff going on in the vocals here.
Hope that you can see me making the most of the States, coast to coast. I'm going where you wouldn't dare, and I know where to look next, but I don't.
All right, I'm hearing a little bit of muddiness in the vocal. It's not full on blanket covering the voice kind of thing, but I'm hearing some stuff that I would probably look to take out. It's almost impossible to say without having the vocal track and being able to sort of take a listen, boost and sweep and see what is sticking out. I typically find on male vocals that is muddiness can be 150, 200, 250, somewhere around there. A little bit of boxiness too. I typically take out 500 or somewhere around 600, 550 on male vocals a lot of the time, because you'll get a little bit of this kind of thing going on, but then you'll also get just a little bit of this going on too. And the whole idea is by removing that, we're not going to have to boost anything else, because it's going to make the top end a lot more present. It's sort of going to bring out some more of the lows, and then you're going to get some of that 2K, 3K, 4K area that pokes through. So I would just kind of go back, maybe revisit, look around, like I said, 150, 200, 250. I'd pull out a dB or two, and I think that would clean up the vocal a lot. Let's keep going. I
don't know what to expect at all. From Florida to California, I'll search the stairs to try and find you. From Washington to Tennessee, all I'm asking is you come with me. New York City's looking nice, I'll take you out there for tonight.
See, again, we're getting a little bit of this muffliness going on with the vocal. The drums sound very cool. Sounds to me like you're probably using something like an Easy Drummer or an Addictive Drummer, which is great. I love those programs. I think they're fantastic tools for songwriters and musicians, especially in the home project environment where you can't track drums. I love those. And I kind of noticed you flipped to almost a different drum sound when it built up to that first chorus, which is great. I love the creativity there. But what's happening is the sort of where you're singing in the register, you're kind of singing in this lower range. It's a little bit hard to understand. And then you add some muddiness into this, right? So it's kind of like, when you're at that level, I would say you're probably still in a baritone, place. It sounds to me like you might be a natural tenor. You're just singing a little bit low. My point is, when there's a little bit of mud on it, we want to sort of lift that blanket off, because you need the vocal to be present. You've got big drums going on. You've got big, nice distorted sounding guitars. I'd love to hear a little bit more bass too while I'm kind of thinking of it, but I think, man, I wish I could hear the vocal soloed up, because there's quite a few things I would do there. I would definitely pull out some of that, like I said, some of those, 150, 200, even maybe looking around 400, 500, 600. Remove that little bump around 2K, 8K shelf, something like that for me is commonly what I would do. I wouldn't do that at the beginning, though, where you're playing acoustic. You can let it be more natural, and you could have less high end and less treble. When the band kicks in, I would automate some of those frequencies on. So like I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I will often put 2 or 3K, a little bit of a bell curve, boost into a vocal like this. An 8K shelf or a 10K shelf is something I will commonly do as well. It will give you that separation. You do a little subtractive, getting rid of the muddiness and the boxiness, a little bit of additive in the treble, and on the high shelf, you're gonna be sitting in a really nice spot there.
Sunset over New York City. I know that you can see me.
See, like the vocals, it doesn't sound bad here by any means. I really like the song, and it's a solid mix. It sounds good for sure. I think you could make the vocals sound great, because right here,
Over New York City. I know that you can see me.
just a little fat and chewy, and I would take a little bit of that, that chewiness out. It's going to make the vocal pop so much. You might not even have to put any treble or any high shelving in or anything like that. I would also compress it a little bit harder, because what you're going to do then with the subtractive EQ, you sort of squeeze the vocal a little bit, increase the level. You're just going to put it up here a little bit. That's going to bring it a little bit more.
Making the most from my side, coast to coast. I'll take you there. Wouldn't have it any other way to see your smile every day. It's such a beautiful sight.
Right on, man. Right on. Really cool song. Really enjoyed that. Kind of almost like a Jimmy Eat World thing. Very cool, very cool. Couple things I heard towards the end there. I didn't want to interrupt it because, you were really peaking there in the crescendo. One thing I heard was the kick drum sounded a little bit pillowy to me. So what I mean by pillowy is it doesn't particularly sound very clicky or attacky, where you kind of might want a little bit of that beater head sound that it's late. I'm like the mic in, the kick in mic, where I would capture some of that beater head. But it also doesn't sound overtly sort of thwump, 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 like real low end and woofy. It's just kind of got that pillowy in the middle thing there. Something that I will commonly do in a situation like that is I will try and do a little bit of high pass filtering on the kick drum. I like using Neve 1073s for this. Doesn't matter what plug-in, which brand or anything like that. But what's cool about a 1073 is you take the 50 hertz. I could just show you real quick. So let's say I pulled open a, I really like the Shep 73. And so check it out. Something I might do on the kick there to really make it sound big is I would engage, so right, 1073s have these fixed EQ points. And there's a reason for it. They sound great. So I would take the 50 hertz on the low end here, right? I'd bring the high pass filter in. I'd leave it at 50. Then what I like to do to get that kick out mic sound boosted is I like to take the 35 hertz low shelf here, and then I'll boost that a bit, like, you know, to taste, right? 4, 5 dB, whatever it needs. Now I know it sounds, it might seem theoretically odd that you're boosting a lower frequency than you're cutting with the filter, because right, 35 is obviously below where 50 is. But what happens if you were to look at a parametric EQ, you would kind of get this bump boost right where the slope of the filter is. That's going to add a lot of sort of low end and heft to your kick drum, and it's just it's a really weighty sound that I love. And then the sort of get a little bit of that kick in mic where you're going to get the attack on the beater head. I will usually come to about 4.8 here on the mid band, so it's a bell. And I'm just going to boost a little bit of it, 4.8 or 7.2, depending on what kick drum it is, will usually give you some of that attack coming through. And then I'll just boost maybe like 1 or 2 dB on this 12K shelf here, and that will really do amazing things to a kick drum. If it's one kick, or if you have a kick in and a kick out, I will typically blend those, send them to a kick bus, and then I'll put something like this Neve up there. You don't need to have a 1073 to do that by any means, but that's just a sort of, you know, because if you're boosting something around 60 hertz, that's largely where a kick fundamental is, where you're going to get that, you know, that real strong low end and that power. But then if you look around 3.5K, 4K, you're going to get a lot of that click, you know, the whack, whack, whack kind of sound on the kick drum. So just some food for thought there. I'm going to get rid of this. You know, and it's just an idea for the kick drum. That was the one thing I heard there, and the other thing was that the guitars left and right kind of play in the octaves as the chord changes is going. I love that. I think it sounds killer. They were just a little bit bright for me. So something you could maybe do, excuse me, is take a high shelf and just cut it a little bit, just sort of taming, you know, some of that high end. I don't want you to dampen it. I don't want you to go search and pick out any frequencies and remove it. I just want to hear a little less brightness and harshness. Something I will do, especially if you're using guitar amp sims, is I find a lot of guitar amp sims, it doesn't matter the company, the brand, is they add a whole lot of fizz to the high end of guitars. Now, if you go mic a real guitar amp, you know, you're not going to get as much of that unnatural fizz at the top. I shot a video a while back called the Guitar Amp Sim Remedy. I'll put a link up so you guys can go check that out so you'll see what I mean. What I do is I use a low pass filter, right? So a high cut low pass filter, and I will roll off a whole bunch of the top end, because what often happens is we have all this unnatural fizz. So check it out. If I open an EQ, just to show you what I mean, we'll get the Pro Q2. So here's what I'll do. Here's a high cut, low pass filter. I will turn it on, right? Then I'll take this and I'll start rolling it down with the band soloed like this with a pretty steep filter, because we're just not going to need a whole bunch of that stuff above 5K, 8K, 10K. So, you know, there's a lot of fizz that often happens at 12K or 15K or even higher up here that we can get rid of. And what that's going to do is it will still allow the guitar to sound bright and cut through the mix, but it'll take that fizziness away, which sometimes can make guitars sound harsh. So those are just a couple tips that I would certainly recommend checking out for this mix. But Adam, thank you so much. What a great song. Really enjoyed it. And don't get me wrong, super solid mix. Definitely sounds good. I don't know if you want to sort of take some of these frequency points that I checked out, but I cheated a little bit and I just took a peek and I just quickly listened to a snippet of every song before I jumped in here, and I went ahead and grabbed my Sonics EQ and I did a couple EQ moves to the overall sort of somehow, if I put it on the 2 bus maybe, on your stereo fader, master fader. So check it out. If we go from here, this is off right now, all right? Actually, let's go back a little bit here. All right, so let's check it out. A couple of the moves that I thought we could benefit from a little EQ on here. I'm doing a little high pass filtering. So if we look right here, okay, I'm high passing to about 34 hertz with a 12 dB per octave slope. Then what I'm doing is I have a low shelf. So kind of like that move with the Neve that I was talking about. The graphical display on here isn't the best. I'll zoom in when I'm editing this, but if we look, I'm engaging a low shelf, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm boosting like 3.5 dB around 60 hertz here. So you can see this bump that we got going on. So what that bump is doing is that's going to positively affect the kick fundamental, right? It's going to give you a lot of that weight that I was talking about, another way to achieve that with the Neve. So that's going to add some low end for us. And then I'm just taking out a little bit of 180, okay, by about 1 dB here, right there. So that was a little bit of muddiness there. And then I'm kind of coming in and taking out some 350 by 1.5 dBs. I'm boosting, let's see, 1.6K by about 2.5 dB. And then I'm doing a little bit of a high shelf, boosting about 1 dB at 8.3K. So an 8K shelf, I use those all the time. Some similar frequencies that I was talking about. So I'll just bypass this in and out as you listen. Hopefully it's subtle, it's just kind of cleaning it up a little bit, and it's sweetening the bottom end and it's sweetening the top end, and we're
sunset over New York City. I know that you can see me.
So, I really like what that's doing. Like I said, we are, boosting a little bit of the low end, a little bit of the high end. We're filtering, tightening up the bottom, getting rid of a little bit of the muddiness and the boxiness in the middle. It's just sort of helping it a little bit along, massaging it in. So, I know I kind of threw a lot at you there, but this is a really, really cool song, okay? And it's a really good mix. And I think with a little bit of EQing and a little bit of compression there, you can definitely take this, to another step. I think this can become a great mix. So thank you for that again, Adam. I really appreciate it. Really good job. Next up, we are going to be checking out, this is a very cool tune. I'm excited. We haven't really had like an EDM style mix yet. So this is a first. This is called Don't Just Keep Me. And this is, Tristan, I couldn't tell by your email if, I know you mix this for sure, but you also mentioned this guy, Justin Ramsey. I don't know if you both mix this or if Justin is the artist, or you have to let me know, leave a comment below, shoot me an email, either way. I apologize. But this song is called Don't Just Keep Me, mixed by Tristan Eichorn and possibly Justin Ramsey. All right, let's check this one out. This is sweet. love the sound of the really liked how you use the filter sweep right here. So it's kind of down. Now you're opening it up. Very cool. I like that because in an instrumental kind of tune like this, tension has to come from somewhere. So by adding those filter moves in there, I think that's great. I really like the way it sounds. And then when it opens up, it's nice and clear. You can maybe pull down kind of that lead, that bass synth line going on there. Just a little. I think so far everything is sounding really, really good. I appreciate the way that you sort of have everything sitting really nicely level-wise. Everything is audible. I can hear each instrument pretty clearly. Nothing is sounding overtly bright, harsh, muddy, boomy, any of those adjectives that I would typically, associate with a mix that's kind of having problems, So, it's certainly cool. This is a little, I'm not a huge EDM expert or it's not something that I work in often. I'd love to hear like a pinch more of that rim shot, like the kick. I know that drives the whole song, and that's kind of part of the the music. But just want to hear a little bit more of that rim shot. Might sound cool with some parallel compression, instead of putting it on the rim shot where it's going to reduce the dynamic range and the loudness of the stick. Maybe put it in parallel. Hit something a little bit hard and then just blend it in together. Right on. Very cool. Very cool. That was Don't Just Keep Me from Tristan Eichorn and Justin Ramsey. Very cool tune. Again, I'm not the biggest EDM expert or aficionado, so to speak. It's not something I work in a whole lot, but I thought it sounded really good. There was nothing that I was hearing that was really bothering me. Like I said, I could hear all the instruments very well. There wasn't any overt brightness, harshness, or muddiness, which are kind of some of the opposite things that I often encounter. The advantage to working in stuff like that when you're using samples and synths and pads and all kinds of stuff is that a lot of those sounds are already sort of pre-EQ'd and pre-compressed a lot of the time. So it can be sort of a nice experience to mix where you're just sort of mixing and you're balancing stuff and you're making panning decisions as opposed to sort of fixing things or really doing some surgical work to make some stuff sound better because maybe it wasn't recorded so well or maybe it wasn't performed so well. I think with part of an advantage with EDM type stuff or electronic music is, it's just a lot of it is just getting everything where you want it, using automation, making panning decisions, like I said, and it sounded really great. So thank you for sharing that. I certainly appreciate it. Last up here, we got a tune from Maria KRAFT. Very cool. We don't have a whole lot of lady mixers on here, so super stoked to hear this, Maria. I think it's awesome that you're, you are submitting this. Can't wait to hear it. Joan of Arc Must Die by the band Mary by Force. So nice little sort of mix up of genres here today. And here we go. This is Joan of Arc Must Die, mixed by very cool, kind of, I don't know if this is metal. We got two songs back to back in genres that I don't really work in a lot, but I love all kinds of music. So I don't know if this is a metal tune or like a hardcore tune or something, but one thing I am hearing a bit is I feel like we could maybe high pass a little bit of the bottom, and it might tighten things up. Because like, I think the groove where, the guitars are kind of palm muting and riffing, and you're getting a lot of kick and snare. What can happen is we can get some low end buildup. So let's check this out, and just for fun, I'm gonna keep playing here, and I'm gonna try rolling off a little bit of the bottom. I know it sounds odd where you remove low end and it actually can tighten up the low end, because the stuff that I'm looking to get rid of is the sub frequencies that we're not going to be able to hear in an environment like this. When I'm listening through my studio monitors and I'm in a room that I know extremely well, I can hear things like this. It will be interesting to hear what this sounds like through maybe a tablet or some earbuds where you have that hyped bottom end. So I think if we tighten this up a little bit, it might sound even better. Let's check it out. I follow you through the world. I show you what I'm made of. So see some of this stuff? I don't know. I'll back it up just a second. I don't know if you can hear that. It's hard to hear in here, let alone through the wonderful audio of YouTube. Because that never ruins anything, never makes anything sound worse. So I'm just taking out like a little bit of what I'm at 23 right now. So basically getting rid of the super subby stuff that is very hard to hear. So okay, right there, the vocal, that was a bit buried and a bit muddy to me. I would love to sort of hear that a little bit more. That sort of screamy part prior to that, that was great and that was fine, but right there it almost sounded like performance-wise, maybe the singer kind of, was back here kind of belting and then got close up and kind of the proximity effect might have started taking over. So maybe visit that, carve out a little bit of, again, I always do you've seen me do it a lot on here if you guys watch this, where I'm listening for a specific range, right? And a common comment would be something like, I don't know what to cut because when I boost a filter, a bell like this, and then I push the volume up and I sweep around and I look for stuff, everything sounds bad. And that's that's completely normal. I remember feeling the exact same way. But what I like to do is I like to listen for a very specific frequency point. So if for me it gets a little muddy like this, I want to go in and I want to listen to that be exaggerated. So if I'm boosting and I'm sweeping, whenever I hear the area that I sort of want to get rid of, that's how I know I'm in the ballpark of it. You know, you can boost and cut and sort of listen and see how it sounds. And if you're not too happy that you're there, so let's say I'm boosting and you know, I'm looking for something around 150 or I'm looking for something around 200, 250. When I make the cut, you know, I can come here and widen the cue a little bit, and then what I can do is I can sort of sweep around and say, all right, how does it sound at 150? How does it sound at 200? How does it sound, you know, at 250? So on and so forth. And what you can do about that that's great is you know, you can, if you have an EQ like this where you can solo up the band, a lot of others do it where you can do like a solo sweep function, but just bring that little part out where the rest of the vocal so far was sounding good. So that one part was a little bit muffled. I would make a cut. You can automate that in and out. Or another trick that I like to do is in my DAW, whatever DAW you work in, edit that one part out of the vocal. Okay, so take that line or that phrase or the words, copy and paste, edit it down, just make another audio track, pull it out, and then EQ that other part a little bit differently, EQ and compress it to where it kind of sounds okay. You know, you can do that with a whole bunch of different parts, and then just make sure you send them all to a bus so that you sort of have, you know, a master fader for all the vocals. And then if you want to treat them all with another like stage of compression and another stage of EQ, you can do that. All right, I'm hearing a little bit of muddy buildup here around 200, so I'm going to take some of this out. I hope you can hear what I'm hearing. I'll boost this a little bit, and then I can solo the band up. Right here. It's right bang on about 200 there. So I'm just going to pull a little bit out. I want you to listen what happens when I cut it, how much more open the song sounds, the mix sounds, yet it's still going to sound big, and it's going to retain a lot of the heaviness that we have going on just because we're sort of not sure what these, excuse me, these sort of stabs are here. They're just a little loud. You could pull them down. I mean, I know like that whole part, it's kind of almost crescendoing a little bit in that chorus, but they are, for me, they're just a little loud because I want to know if you could hear right here. A lot of the guitars seem a little bit mid-forward, sort of a little bit boxy sounding. Trying to find the spot. Right here, so around 400. Check this out. Like those accents. Okay, if I solo that, you'll hear they sound like. Boom. Right on. Rock and roll. Very cool tune. I think that's like probably maybe one of the first metal songs we've had on here too. So Maria, killing it, huh? One thing I heard towards the end here on a lot of those stabs was I wanted to hear a little bit more bass. I'm hearing a lot of guitars, of course. I mean, the type of music it is, you know, guitar, big distorted guitars up front is kind of what you want. But I was wanting a little bit more low end, just a little bit, you know, just to hear some of the bass. You know, when you distort a bass in conjunction with distorted guitars, a lot of the time that can kind of just get washed. So I'm not really sure how the bass is being recorded and treated there. I would love to hear just a little bit more of the bass working in conjunction with the kick drum. That's a very powerful thing, locking the kick and the bass together. And in a powerful type of song like this, a type of mix, I think that could go a really long way. So a couple things to just sort of consider on these guitars, especially towards the end here. I'm hearing some of that fizz that I was kind of talking about in the first tune with the guitar amp sims. You know, basically I would come in here on the guitar tracks and I would engage this high cut or this low pass filter, and I would roll some of it off. I'm not trying to. It's not about making the guitars less bright. It's about making them sound more defined by removing that fizz that is imparted on guitars when played through amp sims. You know, I'm obsessed with tone. I love good tone, and something that I struggle with amps, guitar amp sims, is that they just haven't quite gotten the high end right yet. Now, I'm not talking about things like impulse responses like on Kempers. Kempers are amazing. I'm talking about, you know, if you go and grab something like Guitar Rig from Native Instruments or Amplitude from IK Multimedia or GTR from Waves. I'm not picking on those by any means. They're great and they're amazing tools and they're super convenient, but they just haven't gotten the high end completely right yet in their algorithms, and that's okay. I'll tend to use bass amp sims a whole lot more than I'll use guitar amp sims because I feel like they've gotten a lot of that right with the low end and the low mids kind of coming through. So anyway, a little bit of a rabbit hole there. But with these guitars, get rid of some of that fizz on top. And again, I will solo this and just sweep, and then you'll start to physically hear the fizz. It'll make a lot more sense when you see my guitar amp sim remedy video. Again, I'm going to put the link up to check it out. But, a really solid, super heavy mix. Very cool. I thought the drums sounded great. I liked the guitars in some of the parts. With the vocals, some of the parts where he was kind of screaming a little bit, I thought it kind of came through, but then there was other parts where he got a little bit closer up on the mic, and the vocals could have definitely used a little bit of subtractive EQ to get rid of some of that muddiness. And then what I did here on the 2-bus, as if I was EQing on the 2-bus, was I took a little 200 out, and then I took a little bit of 400 out, and I feel like that cleaned up some stuff. It made it sound bigger, and it still kept all of that weight that you want, in a super hard rock or like a metal tune, but it just kind of made it sound a little bit cleaner, a little high passing to about 25, 26 hertz. Gets rid of those sub lows that you can't hear, but they will smear the bottom end, right? So that was Joan of Arc Must Die. That was made pretty clear. By the band, what's the band's name? Mary by Force, and that was mixed by Maria KRAFT. So Maria, I think you are the first girl to submit a mix. Big round of applause there. We need lots more women here in the audio industry, right? Sylvia Massey is a huge, huge inspiration for me. I'm a big fan of hers, and keep up the great work. Loved how we had a bunch of variety in all of our mixes today. First one was from Adam Buckley, Coast to Coast. Second one, Don't Just Keep Me, from Tristan Eichorn and Justin Ramsey. I don't have my glasses on. That would probably help. And the last one was Joan of Arc Must Die by the band Mary by Force, mixed by Maria KRAFT. So big thanks to the three of you for submitting. I appreciate it. Really, really cool mixes as always. Guys, if you would like to be on a Mix Critique Monday, if you would like a free Mix Critique, all you have to do is email me, pete@mixbetternow.com. Please send me a downloadable WAV file. Please include your name, the name of the song, the name of the artist if it's different from yours, and it is first come, first serve. Super, super easy and a whole lot of fun. So, guys, leave comments. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit like. And if you haven't gotten your free audio swag bag yet, head over to mixbetternow.com, sign up on the email list for the Mix Better Now newsletter, and I will send you my free swag bag, which is full of all kinds of goodies, free multi-track sessions, free mix templates for a bunch of different DAWs, free drum samples. We have a couple free premium tutorials in there. Free Bricasti reverb impulse responses. It's a whole lot of fun and it's free. All you got to do is sign up for the email list. So that's it. That's been another Mix Critique Monday on a Tuesday, March the 13th, 2017. Hope everybody's having a great start to their week thus far. As always, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you guys watching. I hope you all have an awesome day, and I will catch you next time.